So in this episode of Off Topic Talks, we've got two questions relating to business and one question relating to lifestyle. So let's just get right to them, because I've been on a roll lately. It's the new norm, it's the new standard for me to rack these off in one foul shot. So far, I think I've gone, 3 weeks in a row? Excluding last week. There wasn't an off-topic one last week because I had other content planned. So the first question is, did I struggle to service clients through lockdown when gyms had to close? That's a great question, and the answer to that is, kind of. Not for the reason you may think though. So the way I explained this to a lot of people, both in the industry and out of the industry, was in mid-March, I think it was March 14th or 15th, give or take, when it was basically shutdown was mandatory. You had to lock the doors to your business, and you were not allowed to service clients. You couldn't even have people come in the building until they gave you the thumbs up. And for some of us, like even me, 5 months, it's a long time. It was a significant time to close. So at that point, everybody got punched with a jab. We all got stung because we didn't know what was coming. There was a lot of uncertainty. There was a lot of unknown, right? So everybody kind of got caught off guard and recoiled a little bit. But for the most part, that was just a quick sting. What became the challenge was when that mandate extended past 2 weeks for basically everyone. I don't know anyone that got out of lockdown anywhere in the world in just 2 weeks. For most people, it was a minimum of 8 weeks, I believe. Once that third week rolled around and the extension started to come in, that's when most people got gut punched. And the reason why is because a lot of people, when that first initial mandate was released, people were like, oh, okay, well, we'll just kind of hang tight for a moment and then we'll get back to it in 2 short weeks. Well, when you realize that this could go on indefinitely, which I didn't expect it to go on 5 months, a lot of people started scrambling and realizing that they had no way to service their current members and retain revenue. So that's where most people got gut punched. So you got stung when you got told to close your doors. You got stung when you couldn't go to the gym that you work at and train the clients you normally work with. But you got gut punched when you realized that you had no way of servicing them if you weren't already online. And we avoided that gut punch because although we got stung by having to close our doors, we already serviced all of our clients on a hybrid online model. So everybody already was working on the online model in some capacity. So we had a couple clients who never used our app themselves. They had no interest in it. So because of that, we had to put them live on it, but their accounts were already there. We were already tracking their workouts during their PT sessions for them. So all of their data points were there. They just had a little bit of a learning curve figuring out what to do. But in terms of software and having that foundation set, we were very fortunate. Not only had we been doing it, we'd been doing it for long enough where it wasn't abnormal for us. So the only challenge we really had servicing clients was the fact that we never would have guessed that people would have gone from access to gyms to access to basically nothing. I was getting emails from people and text messages. So I found a red band from 1992 in my basement. I'm not sure if it's safe to use, or I've got 2 dumbbells, but they don't match and they're different weights. And so trying to be creative with whatever things people had access to, soup cans, water bottles, right? And then understanding that some people had access to lots of equipment. And so they could continue rolling with the rate of progression they were at, and trying to manage all of that all at once, that was overwhelming, that was challenging. But like I said, that was just a quick sting. We were able to pivot very quickly. So no, yes, no, kind of is the answer I went with, I believe. So yes, we had difficulty adjusting to what people had available, but we did not have difficulty pivoting and adjusting to the online world because we had already adjusted to it. We were already acclimated to that type of service model. Not to mention I have a lot of clients that I service completely online. I don't even see them in person ever, or very rarely. And so being able to service individuals that way is something I can do. Some people don't prefer it, but it is something we're capable of doing. So there's a little bit of frustration for a few individuals who just genuinely don't like it, but of course they understand, and it's much better than nothing at all. Now, I think that pretty much answers that one. Whew, that was long-winded, but we're not done. We're gonna keep it rolling. I haven't tripped over my words yet. So second question, also related to business, as I mentioned, did lockdown stress me out? Yes. Yes, it did. And again, as I said to the first question, it's likely not in the way you think. So my stresses were not based in an inability to service people. My stress was not based in the financial repercussions. This was something I had tried to prepare for. I mean, this was something I could have never prepared for exactly, but the unknown is what you prepare for. You plan for something to occur that's going to disrupt you, and you plan for the worst possible thing you possibly, that sounded funny, can get ready for. And so understanding that, in my head I was already sort of prepared for something. What it was going to be, I didn't know. So that wasn't really what was bothering me. What was bothering me was a combination of my inability as a business owner to service the individuals who expected X service model and now had to be transitioned to Y service model. Fortunately, our clients are incredible, and all of them have been very understanding and supportive and have done their best to maintain some degree of consistency. Most of them, not all. Some of them seem to have forgotten about working out a little bit. I've been on their case though. I'm watching you. If you're watching me, watching you, I'm watching you, watching me, watching you. But understanding as much, it's been a challenging time for a lot of people, but that's been one of my biggest frustration points. Even though nobody seems to be as upset about it as I am, they're all like, Ben, it's not a big deal, it's outside of your control. It's still, when somebody expects to work with a coach 3 times a week and then they can't, I don't know, that gets to me, that gets under my skin, especially if that's what they signed up for initially. So that was a bit of a pain point for me, as well as just the lack of answers, right? I'm the type of person where if I don't have the answers, I want to go find them. I'm going to go seek them out. But it's very challenging when nobody else seems to have the answers either, even people that you hold in very high regard, people that are very competent at what they do and who, in a situation like this, although you can't expect anybody to have answers, you would expect if anyone would have them, it would be them, and they're also looking for answers. So there was just so many questions, not a lot of answers. And so those 2 points, I found those to be kind of stressful. But that was basically it. So the stress was very low in consideration of that. But yeah, those are definitely the 2 pain points for me if I had to list any. And then third question, totally off topic to business. This is totally lifestyle related. Where would I like to travel once travel restrictions lift? Great question. So I've got a special place in my heart for Palm Beach. So I'll likely be there again. But in terms of cool places I want to go, this year actually, I did want to go to Monaco. That's high on my priority list. So fingers crossed, travel restrictions lift a little bit. Some of this uncertainty kind of fades away. We return to some degree of normalcy again, maybe in 2021 or 2022. And that's going to be my first spot. And I also want to go to Switzerland and Sweden. So those are my top picks for destinations that are maybe more interesting than Florida. So, great questions this week. If you have any questions, if you have any curiosities, whether they're training related, whether they're related to my own training, lifestyle, nutrition, reading books, whatever you could possibly think that would be off topic but you're curious about, send it my way. Send it my way, feel free, slide in the DMs, drop a comment on a video, whatever you're most comfortable with, reach out, and I can assure you that it'll be covered on one of the next upcoming off-topic talks.